Hello and welcome to One Word Podcast, the most I skip lunch for this podcast in the world. I did actually skip lunch for this. I'm starving. So I'm here today with Abel.
Hello.
Hi, Abel. How are you?
Could be better.
All right, you kind of got to talk a lot during this podcast. It's going to be fun. So you're the first guest on this show who's actually watched an episode of this or listened to an episode of this podcast.
I nearly fell over laughing.
All right. So would you say you're a one-word fan?
Give me a few more episodes.
All right. So the way this works for those listening to this podcast, you have 2 words that I have randomly generated, and Abel's going to choose one, and that's going to be the topic of this podcast.
How can I pick only one?
Yep. Only one.
Oh.
You don't get 2. This isn't a free country.
Darn it.
So your choices are octopus
Oh, man.
or disaster.
Ooh. There are 2 ways
Please do not choose an octopus disaster. I mean, they like them in Japan, but...
Either way, we're going down. I'm going to pick disaster.
Disaster. Okay. Why not octopus?
I don't want to answer that.
I like octopus. I've eaten octopus before.
Huh.
Very, very good.
Never had it.
Yeah, kind of rubbery, but really nice. So disaster. What a disaster this episode is turning out to be. Knew it was a bad idea.
I already knew it was coming.
All right, what does the word disaster mean to you?
Oh, man. Explosions, everything.
Explosions. So basically what you're saying is when you think of the word disaster, you think of any movie directed by Michael Bae.
That's a given. Yes.
Okay. So would you say the Transformers films were a disaster?
I haven't watched them yet. Apologies to any Transformers fans.
You haven't watched any of the Michael Bae Transformers movies?
No, I just watched Ninja Turtles.
Oh, I envy you.
I think it's good that I did.
Yeah, they were a disaster, to say the least. They were a disaster.
I'm going to go rent some movies today.
Don't do it. Audience, do you want him to watch the Michael Bay Transformers movies?
I think I heard yes.
Maybe.
Nope, they were all okay. Our audience
You
is
don't know
being
what you're talking about.
our audience is being fickle today.
Oh, man.
All right, so Abel,
Yes.
disaster. What is a disaster that happened in your life?
Every
Well,
part
besides
of my
your
life.
life.
Every part of my life.
Can you give us a specific example? Because trust me, we know your life has been a disaster.
I probably should have stayed in technical school.
So you dropped out of college?
I just kind of left. Kids, don't follow my example.
Yeah, that is a disaster, man.
I know. I'm going to regret it.
Are you going to go back?
No. I tell people I might. Nah.
Or are you just going to stay at home eating Cheetos on the couch?
Cheetos Puffs, if you mind. Okay.
All right. So, sounds like that is a disaster. But can you share with us an example of a natural disaster that happened during your lifetime that really stuck with you?
Besides the snowy winters in Wisconsin, not really much I can think of.
Okay, so you don't really care about the world and all those people dying
Oh.
in tsunamis and
Oh, I figured you were
volcanoes and-
talking about like my
No,
personal
everywhere.
experience. Everywhere. Okay. I mean,
Come on, man!
there was an earthquake where my family lives in Mexico, so that got me worried.
Really? Were you there?
No, I was here, but of course we called to make sure everyone was all right.
Was everyone all right? I must know.
They were, thankfully.
That's not a very exciting story.
Well,
Make it more exciting. I don't care if it's true or not. Make it cooler sounding.
all right. So, once my friend down in Tokyo,
Uh-oh.
he was just having a fine, normal day. Next thing you
Octopuses?
know, oh no, not that, not yet. He looks out the window, and you'd think you'd see Godzilla. No, there is a giant fudge monster.
What?
At first, he would thought, "Oh, that's not good. I'm gonna get fat."
What?
He went and saved the day by eating it, and then got diabetes. But we don't talk about that.
Wow, that is a disaster.
Yeah.
Would you say when he was shoveling fudge into his mouth that he was a fudge packer?
I would say, hope it's gluten free.
Why do you have to bring up a giant mountain of fudge when, as previously stated, I'm starving?
Could have been a giant mound of poop.
All right, appetite's gone. Thanks. Do you have anything else you want to add on the word disaster?
I think the word disaster makes me feel happy.
Why?
I just learned to live with it.
Okay.
It's like my roommate.
You have a roommate.
Yeah,
Is that a disaster?
every day. I can't think of a day where it isn't. Actually, no, every day is a disaster.
Sounds like every roommate agreement. Always a disaster. All right. Do you have anything else you'd like to say to the people while you've got 30 more seconds?
Hello, I make jokes that make people laugh more than me. Oh, wait, I got that wrong. I laugh more than they do.
In other words, you're saying you're a bad comedian.
Yes.
All right.
I flunked the first joke.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show and telling us about giant fudge monsters.
I have a very confusing mind.
All right. If you guys thought this episode was a disaster, you were right. And you can find more disasters at www.onewordpodcast.com, where you can watch every episode. Not all of them are disasters. Some of them are adequate.
You can tell none of this was scripted.
Not a moment. And I guess we'll see.
Go to www.onewordpodcast.com
For what?
so you can check out more of these disasters. Why not?
All right. Well,
Have anything better to do with your life? I don't think so.
especially not you, right?
I'm going to go home and cry about it.
All right. Well, now that we've made Abel feel bad, I'm going to say goodbye. See ya. Bye.
Until next time.